Leviticus 25, 1 to 31. And so there are this year called the year of the Jubilee, the Sabbath year, where God will give on the 6th year. He will give he will let the land produce food for 3 years worth. And so the 6th year they get food. The 7th year they're not to do any work, like to let their land rest, but they can eat from the land, fruit from the land. And so the 8th year they need to re-sow, and they have food from the land also. So God told them to do that. And it's interesting that it says that, so that's the Sabbath year. And then it says, do not reap what grows of itself, or harvest the grapes of untended vines. So I think you only reap what you sowed in the 6th year. I think that's what it means. And then there's this year of Jubilee, where it's also like a rest year, but it's also when everyone is to return to their own property. And God said that the land is His, so they only are selling and buying based on the crop, the number of crop. And so it's, and then there's also a redemption time, but at the year of Jubilee, then everything is to be redeemed. So it's interesting the way that God set this up, and I think it's kind of, it reminds the Israelites that they are foreigners and that the land is God, so they have to keep in mind constantly that God is the one who is taking care of them and the land, and that it's not their own possession. And it also, like the Sabbath year, if I were them, I would be there. It's hard for me to do what God says to do unless there's a trust in God's providence. So to follow these commands will really require a lot of trust and faith in God and dependency on God. And so that's very interesting. I wonder if I live, like, let's say I go and buy a house in the open country, and I live according to these like statutes or guidelines that God had made. I wonder if God will bless that kind of like that kind of faith in Him in the modern days, the same way that He blessed the Israelite back then.